We'd been hired to take out a small, supposedly uninhabited research facility on a backwater planet. Our employer, a shadowy figure known only as the client, had assured us the job would be a cakewalk. We were a team of 4 seasoned mercenaries, each with our own unique skill set and a reputation that preceded us across the galaxy. There was Kree, the hulking brute with cybernetic enhancements that made him a one-man wrecking crew. Anya, the stealth expert who could slip through shadows like a phantom. Jax, the tech whiz who could hack any system and disable any security measure. And then there was me, Xander, the leader, the strategist, the one who kept the team focused and on track. The client had provided us with minimal information, just the coordinates of the facility and a vague description of its layout. It's a low-security operation, they'd said in their raspy, distorted voice. Just a few scientists and some outdated equipment. In and out, no complications. But as we descended through the planet's thick atmosphere, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The facility, nestled in a dense forest, seemed larger and more imposing than we'd been led to believe. And as we approached, I noticed a series of high-tech sensors and defense turrets that hadn't been mentioned in the briefing. Looks like the client wasn't entirely forthcoming, Jax muttered, his fingers dancing across his holographic console. There's some serious security here. No problem, Kree grunted, flexing his metal-reinforced arms. We'll just have to improvise. We landed our ship a safe distance from the facility and set off on foot, moving through the undergrowth with practiced stealth. Anya led the way, her movements fluid and silent, while Jax monitored the security systems, looking for vulnerabilities. Kree and I brought up the rear, weapons at the ready. As we neared the facility, I noticed something strange. The sensors and turrets seemed to be focused on the perimeter, leaving the main building itself relatively unprotected. It was almost as if they were expecting an attack from the outside, not the inside. This is too easy, I whispered to Anya. There's got to be a catch. She nodded, her eyes scanning the surroundings. Let's not get cocky. We still need to be careful. We reached the main building and Jax quickly disabled the door's electronic lock. We slipped inside, weapons raised, our senses on high alert. The interior was dimly lit, with long corridors and rows of closed doors. We moved cautiously, checking each room as we went. The first few rooms were empty, filled with lab equipment and abandoned research notes. But as we ventured deeper into the facility, we began to hear sounds. Low growls and barks echoed through the corridors, sending a chill down my spine. What was that? Kree whispered, his eyes wide with surprise. Sounds like animals, Jax replied, his voice tense. We rounded a corner and came face to face with the source of the noises. A pack of large, snarling dogs, their eyes glowing in the darkness, blocked our path. They were unlike any dogs I'd ever seen, with thick fur, razor-sharp teeth, and a menacing aura that radiated from them. These aren't just dogs, Anya hissed. They're guard dogs, genetically engineered for combat. The dogs lunged at us, their teeth bared, their growls turning into ferocious barks. We opened fire, our weapons spitting laser blasts and energy bolts. The dogs were fast and agile, dodging and weaving through the hail of fire. Some of them fell, but others kept coming, their eyes fixed on us with a primal fury. These things are relentless, Jax shouted, firing his blaster pistol with deadly accuracy. We need to get out of here, Anya yelled, backing away as a dog lunged at her, its jaws snapping just inches from her face. We retreated down the corridor, firing as we went. But the dogs were relentless, their numbers seeming to multiply with each passing moment. We were outnumbered and outmatched. This is a trap, I shouted, my voice echoing through the corridors. The client set us up. We reached a dead end, our backs pressed against the wall. The dogs closed in, their growls growing louder, their teeth glistening in the dim light. We raised our weapons, ready to make our last stand. But just as the dogs were about to attack, a strange thing happened. The growling stopped, replaced by a series of high-pitched whistles and clicks. The dogs froze, their heads cocked to one side, their eyes filled with confusion. Then, as if on command, they turned and retreated, disappearing into the darkness from which they had come. We were left standing there, panting and exhausted, our weapons still raised. We had survived the encounter, but barely, and we knew that our mission was far from over. The silence that followed was deafening. We stood there, our breaths ragged, our hearts pounding in our chests. The adrenaline was wearing off, replaced by a cold, creeping fear. What the hell were those things? Kree finally asked, his voice barely a whisper. Jax shook his head, his face pale. I've never seen anything like them. They were engineered, bred for one purpose, to kill. And they almost succeeded, Anya added, her voice trembling slightly. I took a deep breath, trying to regain my composure. We need to get out of here. Now? We turned and ran, our footsteps echoing in the empty corridor. We didn't stop until we reached the main entrance, bursting through the doors and into the cool night air. We stumbled away from the building, collapsing onto the damp grass, our bodies racked with exhaustion and relief. I don't understand, Jax muttered, his eyes fixed on the dark outline of the facility. Why would they let us go? Why didn't they finish us off? Maybe they wanted us to deliver a message, Anya suggested. A warning? Or maybe they're just toying with us, Cree growled, waiting for us to make a mistake. I closed my eyes, trying to make sense of the situation. We had been hired for a simple job, a quick in-and-out operation. But it had turned into a nightmare, a deadly game of cat and mouse. We had underestimated our enemy, and we had paid the price. We need to regroup, I said, my voice firm. We need to figure out what we're up against and how to fight back. We spent the rest of the night in the forest, huddled around a small fire, discussing our options. We were bruised and battered, our confidence shaken. But we were also angry, determined to get revenge on whoever had set us up. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the trees, we made a decision. We would return to the facility, not as mercenaries on a mission, but as hunters on a quest. We would uncover the secrets hidden within its walls, expose the truth behind the client's deception, and make them pay for their treachery. We spent the next few days gathering information, studying the facility's security systems, and analyzing the behavior of the guard dogs. We learned that the dogs were not just mindless beasts, but highly intelligent creatures, trained to respond to specific commands and signals. We also discovered that they were not the only threat we faced. The facility was guarded by a network of automated drones and robotic sentries, each one programmed to eliminate any intruders. But we were not deterred. We had faced impossible odds before, and we had always found a way to overcome them. We were mercenaries, survivors, fighters, and we would not be defeated. We devised a plan, a daring infiltration that would exploit the weaknesses we had discovered in the facility's defenses. We would use our unique skills and abilities to bypass the security systems, neutralize the guard dogs, and reach the heart of the operation. Under the cover of darkness, we returned to the facility, moving silently through the forest. We had upgraded our weapons and equipment, adding new tools and gadgets to our arsenal. We were prepared for anything. We reached the perimeter fence and Jax quickly disabled the alarms and sensors. We slipped through the opening, our hearts pounding in our chests. We moved swiftly through the shadows, avoiding the roving searchlights and the watchful eyes of the drones. We reached the main building and Jax once again bypassed the door's electronic lock. We slipped inside, our senses on high alert. The interior was even darker and more silent than before. We moved cautiously, our footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. We reached the central control room, the nerve center of the facility. Jax hacked into the mainframe, gaining access to the security cameras and the internal communication network. He disabled the remaining defenses, leaving us free to explore. We moved through the corridors, opening doors and searching rooms. We found laboratories filled with strange experiments and research notes written in an alien language. We found dormitories with empty beds and personal belongings left behind in haste. We found a massive underground chamber filled with rows of stasis pods, each one containing a humanoid figure suspended in a cryogenic sleep. But we didn't find what we were looking for. We didn't find any answers, any clues as to why we had been hired for this job, or who the client really was. We found ourselves in an expansive, sterile chamber. At its center, bathed in an eerie blue light, was a massive console covered in intricate symbols and blinking lights. It was clearly not of human origin. Jax immediately went to work, his fingers dancing across a holographic interface as he tried to decipher the alien technology. "I'm getting something," he muttered, his voice laced with excitement. It's a log? A record of experiments." Anya and Cree crowded around him, their eyes fixed on the screen. I leaned in, my heart pounding with anticipation. "The subjects are human," Jax said, his voice filled with disbelief. "They've been experimenting on humans." A wave of anger washed over me. I thought of the stasis pods we had found, the innocent people trapped inside, their lives used as pawns in some sick game. "But why?" Anya asked, her voice barely a whisper. Jax continued to scroll through the log, his face growing paler with each passing moment. "They're weaponizing them," he finally said, his voice barely audible. "They're creating super soldiers, enhanced with alien DNA and technology." The room fell silent. We all knew what this meant. We had stumbled upon something far more sinister than we could have ever imagined. "We have to get this information out," Cree said, his voice shaking with rage. "We have to expose them." But as we turned to leave, the room was suddenly flooded with a blinding light. A high-pitched whine filled the air, and the console began to spark and smoke. "What's happening?" Anya cried, shielding her eyes from the glare. A voice, cold and robotic, echoed through the chamber. "Intruders detected? Security protocols initiated." The door slammed shut, sealing us inside. The lights went out, plunging us into darkness. And then, the floor beneath us began to tremble. The room started to rise, lifting us higher and higher. Through the darkness, we could see the outline of a massive, cylindrical structure. We were inside a launch silo. "They're going to launch us," Jack shouted, his voice filled with panic. "We have to get out of here," Cree yelled, his eyes darting around the room searching for an escape route. But there was none. We were trapped, hurtling upwards towards the unknown. And then, with a blinding flash and a deafening roar, we were launched into space. As we soared through the atmosphere, I looked back at the facility, a small speck on the horizon. I knew that we had made a terrible mistake. We had underestimated our enemy, and now we were paying the price. But even as despair threatened to consume me, a glimmer of hope remained. We had survived this far, against all odds, and we would survive this too. We would find a way to turn the tables, to expose the truth and bring those responsible to justice. And as I looked out at the vast expanse of space, I knew that our journey was far from over. It was just beginning. Suddenly, the ship lurched violently. Alarms blared, and red lights flashed. We were being pulled off course, towards a massive, swirling vortex. A wormhole? What the hell? Jack shouted, his fingers flying across his console. It's pulling us in, Cree yelled, grabbing onto a handhold to steady himself. I felt a surge of adrenaline as we plunged into the wormhole, the world around us twisting and distorting. And then, just as quickly as it had begun, it was over. We emerged into a new star system, our ship battered and bruised but still functional. As we surveyed our surroundings, our jaws dropped in astonishment. Before us, orbiting a vibrant blue star, was a sprawling space station, a technological marvel that dwarfed anything we had ever seen. It was a city in the stars, a testament to the ingenuity and ambition of a civilization far beyond our own. And as we gazed upon this wondrous sight, a transmission crackled through our speakers. "Welcome," a voice said, smooth and melodic. "Welcome to the Galactic Alliance." As our ship docked with the space station, a sense of awe washed over us. We were escorted by a group of beings unlike any we had ever encountered. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent sheen, their eyes glowed with an inner light, and their movements were fluid and graceful. They introduced themselves as members of the Galactic Alliance, a coalition of advanced civilizations dedicated to peace and cooperation. We were brought before the Alliance Council, a diverse group of leaders from different worlds. They listened intently as we recounted our experiences, our voices filled with both outrage and disbelief. When we finished, the council chamber fell silent. "This is a grave matter," the council's leader, a wise-looking being with long, flowing tentacles, said in a calm voice. "The actions of the renegades, as we call them, are a threat to the stability of the galaxy." "Renegades?" I asked, confused. "They are a splinter group," the leader explained. "They reject the principles of the Alliance and seek to exploit the resources of other worlds for their own gain. They are ruthless, cunning, and dangerous." "They were the ones who hired us," Jack said, his voice filled with anger. "They lied to us, manipulated us, and put our lives in danger." The council members exchanged concerned glances. "We apologize for the deception you have suffered," the leader said. "We were unaware of the renegades' activities on that planet. But rest assured, we will take immediate action." He turned to a console and issued a series of commands. "A fleet has been dispatched to investigate the facility and apprehend the renegades. We will not allow them to continue their nefarious experiments." A wave of relief washed over me. We had found allies, powerful allies, who shared our values and our determination to fight for justice. But our relief was short-lived. "There is one more thing," the leader said, his voice grave. "The renegades have been tracking your movements. They know you have escaped, and they will be coming for you." A chill ran down my spine. We had escaped one trap, only to fall into another. "We will not abandon you," the leader assured us. "We will provide you with shelter and protection. But you must remain vigilant. The renegades are relentless, and they will stop at nothing to silence you." We were given quarters within the space station, a luxurious suite with panoramic views of the cosmos. But we could not relax. We knew that danger lurked around every corner. We spent our days training with the Alliance's elite forces, learning new combat techniques and mastering advanced weaponry. We also shared our knowledge of the renegades' tactics and technology, hoping to give the Alliance an edge in the upcoming conflict. And then, one fateful day, the alarm sounded. The renegades had arrived. A massive fleet of warships emerged from hyperspace, their weapons glowing with a menacing red light. They launched a relentless assault on the space station, their energy beams and missiles tearing through the Alliance's defenses. We joined the battle, fighting alongside our new allies. We piloted starfighters, engaged in dogfights with enemy ships, and infiltrated enemy vessels to sabotage their systems. The battle raged for days, the outcome uncertain. But in the end, the Alliance's superior firepower and tactics prevailed. The renegade fleet was destroyed, their threat neutralized. We had won? We had defeated the renegades and saved the galaxy from their tyranny. But our victory was bittersweet. We had lost many friends and comrades in the fight, and we knew that the war was far from over. The renegades were just one faction in a vast network of evil. As we stood on the bridge of the space station, watching the wreckage of the renegade fleet drift away, I made a decision. We would join the Galactic Alliance, not just as mercenaries, but as protectors of peace and justice. We would use our skills and experience to fight for a better future, a future where all beings could live in harmony and freedom. Our journey had been long and arduous, filled with danger and loss, but it had also been a journey of self-discovery, of growth and transformation. We had started as mercenaries, guns for hire, but we had become heroes, champions of the galaxy. And as I looked out at the vast expanse of space, I knew that our adventure was just beginning. The Alliance welcomed us with open arms, recognizing the unique skills and knowledge we possessed. We were integrated into their ranks, not as simple soldiers, but as a specialized task force, tasked with hunting down the renegades and dismantling their operations. Our first mission was to infiltrate a renegade outpost on a remote planet. The outpost was a key hub for their weapons smuggling operations, and its destruction would deal a major blow to their resources and morale. We approached the planet under cover of darkness, our ship cloaked in a veil of advanced technology. We landed in a dense jungle, far from the outpost's main sensors. Anya, with her unmatched stealth skills, led the way, silently navigating the treacherous terrain. Jax, with his technological prowess, jammed the outpost's security systems, creating blind spots for us to exploit. Kree, with his brute strength and cybernetic enhancements, served as our battering ram, ready to breach any obstacles. And I, with my strategic mind and years of combat experience, coordinated our every move, ensuring our plan unfolded flawlessly. We reached the outpost undetected and quickly neutralized the guards. We breached the main compound, our weapons blazing. A fierce firefight ensued, with laser blasts and energy bolts filling the air. The renegades were well trained and heavily armed, but they were no match for our coordinated assault. We fought our way through the compound, taking down enemies and disabling their defenses. We reached the heart of the outpost, a heavily fortified control room. Jax worked his magic, hacking into the mainframe and initiating a self-destruct sequence. We escaped the compound just as it erupted in a massive explosion, sending debris and flames into the night sky. We watched from a safe distance, a sense of satisfaction filling us as the renegade outpost was reduced to rubble. Our mission was a success. We had struck a blow against the renegades, but we knew it was just the beginning. There were countless other outposts, hidden bases, and secret laboratories scattered across the galaxy. The war was far from over. As we journeyed through the stars, from one mission to the next, we uncovered more and more of the renegades' sinister plans. They were not content with mere conquest and exploitation. They sought to reshape the galaxy in their own twisted image, to eradicate all those who opposed them. We faced countless dangers, from genetically engineered monsters to advanced robotic armies. We fought in zero gravity, in hostile environments, and in the depths of space. We faced betrayals, ambushes, and near-death experiences. But we never wavered. We were driven by a sense of duty, a thirst for justice, and a deep-seated hatred for the renegades and everything they stood for. We became legends, whispered about in hushed tones on countless worlds. We were the Ghost Squad, the Spectres of Vengeance, the Hunters of the Renegades. And our legend would continue to grow, as we faced the renegades in a final, epic showdown that would determine the fate of the galaxy. The information we had gathered about the renegades' plans was dire. They were not simply content with dominating individual planets. Their ambitions were far grander, far more sinister. We learned of a doomsday weapon they were developing, a weapon capable of wiping out entire star systems. It was a race against time to stop them before they could unleash this devastating power. The Alliance Council, spurred into action by our findings, assembled a massive fleet, the largest armada ever seen in the galaxy. Ships of all shapes and sizes, representing countless species and civilizations, united under a common cause, the preservation of peace and freedom. We were at the forefront of this fleet, our Ghost Squad leading the charge. We had been augmented with cutting-edge technology, our bodies enhanced, our weapons upgraded. We were the tip of the spear, the vanguard of hope. Our destination was a hidden planet, a stronghold where the renegades were rumored to be building their doomsday weapon. It was a heavily fortified fortress, bristling with defenses and guarded by legions of loyal soldiers and advanced war machines. As we approached the planet, the tension was palpable. We knew that this was our most dangerous mission yet, our most important. The fate of countless worlds hung in the balance. We launched a daring attack, our ships weaving through enemy fire, dodging asteroids, and disabling defense turrets. We landed on the planet's surface, under heavy fire, and fought our way through the enemy lines. The battle was fierce, the most brutal we had ever faced. We lost many brave soldiers, many good friends, but we pressed on, fueled by our rage and determination. We breached the fortress, fighting our way through its labyrinthine corridors, taking down countless enemies, and overcoming seemingly impossible obstacles. We reached the heart of the fortress, the chamber where the doomsday weapon was being constructed. It was a monstrous machine, a grotesque amalgamation of metal and alien technology. It pulsed with a sinister energy, a dark aura that chilled us to the bone. Jax, with his unparalleled hacking skills, managed to infiltrate the weapon's control system, but it was heavily encrypted and booby-trapped. "I can't shut it down," he shouted over the din of battle. "But I can. Redirect it?" A plan formed in my mind, a desperate gamble, but our only hope. "Kree," I said, turning to our hulking companion, "I need you to buy us some time." Kree nodded, a grim determination in his eyes. He charged into the fray, his cybernetic enhancements whirring, his weapons blazing. He was a one-man army, mowing down enemies with ruthless efficiency. Anya and I sprinted towards the weapons core, dodging enemy fire and leaping over obstacles. We reached the central chamber, where Jax was frantically working on the console. "Almost there," he muttered, his fingers flying across the interface. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. Kree's diversion had reached its limit. The renegades were closing in, their footsteps echoing through the corridors. "Jax, hurry," I shouted, my voice filled with urgency. With a final burst of energy, Jax completed the hack. "It's done," he cried. "The weapon is redirected." We turned and ran, just as the renegades burst into the chamber. We dodged their attacks, weaving through their ranks, our hearts pounding in our chests. We reached the exit just as the doomsday weapon fired, its energy beam lancing out into space. But instead of hitting its intended target, it struck the renegades' own fleet, obliterating it in a blinding flash. We emerged from the fortress, battered and bruised, but alive. We had succeeded in our mission, at a great cost. We had saved countless worlds, but lost many brave souls. As we stood there, watching the smoke rise from the ruins of the fortress, a strange transmission crackled over our comms. It was a voice we had not heard in a long time, a voice that sent shivers down our spines. "Well done, Ghost Squad," the voice said, its tone dripping with malice. "You have proven to be more resilient than we anticipated. But this is just the beginning. The war is far from over, and next time, we will not be so lenient." The transmission ended, leaving us with a chilling sense of foreboding. We knew that the renegades were not defeated, merely wounded. They would be back, stronger and more determined than ever. And we would be waiting for them.